Hello and welcome back, guys. Today we're gonna make some fish hook earrings out of wires. We're gonna do it out of gauge wires, and we're gonna do one with pins. So I ran out of earrings when I was making some designs for BB Craft, and I had to end up making my own. So I figure I'm gonna show you how I end up having to make my own. So this is what the end result looks like right here. So I'm gonna use 24 gauge wire. You can use 20 gauge wire or you can use 18 gauge wire. I prefer the 18 gauge wire because it's not as flimsy as the 20 gauge. So this is what the 20 gauge wire one looks like. This is what the 18 gauge wire, and this is what a normal pin looks like if you would, if you have your pins with a loop in it. But this one is a little bit more sturdier than that one, but they both work good. All right. So I've already got some pieces cut. All right, and these are the tools here that I'm going to use. And this one I've already used because I've straightened out my wire. We've cut my wire, so we've got these two left. And I'm also going to use some spacer beads. All right. So what I'm going to start off doing is taking my 20 gauge wire and making a couple of loops around the 18 gauge wire. Or this is 24 gauge wire on the 18. So we're going to make a lot of little loops. All right, so I'm just going to put that there. And just to make sure it's not slipping too much, I'm going to take this one and hold it there like that so that it gets it a good grip. For me, my hands are always slippery for this, so this is the way I like to do it. Here, let me get it started and then we'll come back to it real quick. So give it a little loop and another little loop right here. All right, and pull it as tight as possible close to the wire. All right. And just give it a lot of little loops. If it bends, you can just straighten it back out with your fingers. I don't care if it spaces out too much because I'm going to cut them in half anyways. Looks like one right there for me. Let me just crunch it together. There we go. Then I'm going to hold it back over here. Let me give it a little bit more straighten out than that. Okay. That's back nice and straight again. And then I'm going to continue to turn it. Oops. And I'm going to scrunch this part down together. There we go. Straighten the wire back out a little bit. The straighter the better, so. And then put that back on for grip and twist some more. And this one I'm just going to twist until all of the wire goes down that I can get. Okay, and then I'm gonna scrunch it together. So I've got 3 little scrunch pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off this wire right here. All right, and cut it into its little parts. And these are gonna be your coils for your earring. I'm gonna cut this piece off. I'm gonna cut it in half there. I'm gonna cut it in half there, and I'm gonna cut that, well, that piece off right there. Okay. There. Let me hold down on this just a tad bit because I definitely don't want it to fly away somewhere. And the same thing for this side. And then take down here and give it a cut. Okay, get rid of those little pieces, and we've got our coils, and we'll fix it nice and neat once we get it under wire. All right, so first wire here, let's go ahead and do the 18 gauge wire. Dry off my hands. All right. Go ahead and put a little loop around it. Just a little tiny loop. Turn it like that. You don't want the loop to be too big, okay? Because you don't want it looking nasty. Turn it a little bit there. Pull it with your fingers, and it's gonna look like this, okay? So there's your loop. I'm gonna tighten it just a little bit more here, just a tad bit more. All right, so let me tighten it there. There we go. Pull it back, and then there's our loop. All right, and then we're gonna do it for all of the pieces. So there's one. This one, we already have it with the loop, okay? The pen that we brought with the loop already. And then this one here is the 20 gauge wire. And like I said, it's not as strong as the 18 gauge, so it does bend a little, but you'll be fine. Put your loop in there. Straighten it out a bit, okay? There you go. I'm gonna flatten it. Okay, there you go. So all 3 of these are ready to start building. Let me close this a little bit more. All right, so these 3 are ready to start building. Okay. This one looks like it was. There goes our 18 gauge. So we're gonna take our spacer beads and just put our spacer beads on there. And I'm doing all 3 at once. I didn't see the point of going one by one with the earrings. Okay, and close this loop a little bit more. There we go. And then we got our spacer beads. Let's put our coils on. So you put your coils on. Put it on, push it down. Okay. And I'm just gonna now straighten everything out, make it look pretty because it has a little space in between it. So I'm gonna go ahead and straighten it out. Okay, close the spaces up. And then I'm gonna stick these little ends that are sticking out. I'm just gonna go and close them up. So tuck them in nice and neat. All right. So that one's tucked in, and then tuck the top one in, which is pretty good, but let's give it a little bit more. Okay, so that one's tucked in. I'm gonna do that for all my pieces, so that one's done. And we'll stick this one out here. This is the 20 gauge wire that I just put the coil on. So let me close it up here. there. And then, like I said before, tuck those little inlets in. This one I might have to cut a little bit. Let me see. All right, there we go. And then close it. I'm just being a little tad bit stubborn. All right, there we go. And then closing it. And then tucking the top one in as well. Okay. And then same thing for the last one. And this is the open pin that you can get from the store as a finding. And I'm just gonna close this up a little bit more. Close this one up a little bit more. And bring it closer to my eyes to tuck in those pieces because this one's hard to see. Yeah, it's definitely going a little bit harder. Okay. So now all three of those are ready. And I'm gonna go ahead and bend them in half. Well, not in half, but in an angle. Okay, and just turn your angle up. Right, so you got an L shape there. Do the same thing to your next one. L shape there. As you see, it was easier to do the 20 gauge wire, bent very nicely. Okay, so there's those two. And then here's a pin that you can just buy from the store. Closer there. Bend that one as well. L shape, okay? So all three of those are ready to go. And let's do the 20 gauge one first. All right, so this tool here, I'm going to use the middle part, but the smallest of the middle part, which is going to be this one. All right, so since I'm gonna use this side, I want it to be this way. Take my L shape pin, and this is the 18 gauge. Take it, put it right here. Now this is the small one, this is the big side, okay? And put it on there, like so. And then just bend it all the way over. All the way over and down. Okay? Over and down, and it'll look like this. See, you already see that earring shape, there you go. All right, now that is the 18. Now let's do the 20. Make sure you do it, it's against here. Well, I try to, you don't have to, but I do. Turn it all the way over, bend it all the way over, and bring it down. Okay. And then there's that one. And then do your last one. Okay. And then all, oops. This one must be a bit more difficult. There we go, that was my mistake. All right, should have made it a little bit, there we go. All right, so there we go. Bend it all the way over and bring it across, okay? And there you have it. So here's 3 of them right here. And then you just cut off your extra tail. All right, this one you don't have to cut it off, really. You just bend your corner piece here. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's your corner piece, and just bend it up just a tad bit, just a tad bit. So that one's done. And if you're not sure, I just use this and measure the rest off of where I'm gonna cut, which is gonna be about, hold on, my nails are in the way. All right, right there. So I'm gonna cut it right there. Okay, want it to be flat, no point, no pokies at the end. So. And then you can just take that one and measure the other one. If you don't have it to measure it literally, you're just gonna cut it. See where here is? You're gonna put your finger in between there and you will cut it right there. See? Same length. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut it. And go ahead and bend the tips of them. Not too much, just a tad bit. All right, so there you go. If you don't have earrings and you run out, you can make your own. And here are the other ones that I did earlier. Okay. So you have the ones that you can buy from the store, your pins. If you even, like, it doesn't even matter. I have so many of these different colors laying around, so I'm pretty sure you do too. So you can use these to make earrings if you run out. Use 24 gauge wire and just, you can wrap it around the earring itself. The reason why I wrapped it around the 18 gauge is because if you try to wrap it around the 20 gauge, it's more flimsier, so it would leave indentations. So that's why I did it on the 18 gauge. But there's the 18 gauge. There's the 18 gauge. Let's cut that down a little bit more. Yeah, this one I made smaller. Okay. A little tiny pin. All right, so there's 18 gauges right here. There's your findings that you may have sitting in a box like I do. And then here's your 20 gauge. And let's put that down a little bit more. There we go. And then there's your 20 gauge. So that's very easy to make. Very easy, takes no time. Actually, probably would save me more money than it would have cost to go out and buy a couple packets. So I'm happy with that. All right, that was it for today's video.